so it's not even early, guys.
Okay.
All right, good morning, Facebook. How are you guys? Welcome back to another Mystic Fitness live flow. So just so you guys know, we are... Oh, my phone just turned off, Ames. My Instagram. All right, we'll get Instagram up and running soon. Kelly, do you mind if I use your phone? It looks like my phone is doing an update of some sort, of course. That's how she goes, right? Perfect time for an update on your phone, right when you're about to go live. So I wanted to let you guys all know that a couple days ago on Facebook, on our Mystic page, we posted a little informative video of the procedures that will be taking place when we do decide to reopen. So we are hard at work creating a plan for our community so that we can get you guys into our studio. Every day we're thinking of new ideas and new procedures that will keep everyone safe. So please stay posted. A good rule of thumb is to go check out that Facebook video if you have a chance. It's posted on our Mystic Fitness Facebook page, and it runs through what you guys should expect as you enter and exit when you're coming into Mystic. So me and Amy filmed that a couple days ago, so I hope you guys can take a look at it. It will be one of those things that... our procedures have changed. So if you haven't looked at it, I really recommend that you guys go take a look. That way you know what to expect when we do reopen, which will be soon. Good morning, Mom. Hope you are enjoying your time at the Cape. I see your little comment coming up. Another thing is we're still taking donations through our Venmo account. These outdoor classes, as well as our live classes, are totally free. So if you were reluctant to come to our outdoor class because you didn't want to pay, well, guess what? It's free. Come on down. Try it out. You might really like it. So please take maybe take time out of your day to go outside for your class at home if you're more comfortable with staying at home. If you do make a donation through our Venmo account, we'll be giving you guys a handmade Mary Beth mask, or you can opt into receiving some of our gently used props like blocks, straps, mats, anything you guys need. Just let us know, and we are happy to do our part to make that happen for you. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. Check out our YouTube channel as well if you have family members that want free yoga, but they don't want to use Facebook or Instagram. Well, our YouTube option is the perfect for them then. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Come on to your mats. We have Mary Beth and Kelly with us, Kelly Spencer. Thank you guys for coming. And the weather is going to hold off for us. And even when it's a little bit cloudy like this, we're still receiving those UV rays, which is where we get all of our vitamin D from. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Again, in and out. Notice how after you take a couple intentional deep breaths, your body and mind can start to relax into the present moment. Letting go of anything that did or did not happen this morning before arriving on your mat. Just kind of trusting the flow of the universe to carry you where you need to be. And you may notice that when you first come into your meditation, it's a bunch of kind of scrambled thoughts still kind of circulating. And sometimes I like to imagine each thought as a train, kind of going from one end of the brain and racing through the other end. And rather than staying aboard that thought, that train, just hop off, take a seat, and just observe the thoughts kind of scroll across the brain rather than identifying which each thought and letting it kind of take you for this long ride. I'm using this metaphor to let your mental and emotional bodies know that they are welcome here. But it is also time for some stillness. When I first kind of started meditating, I always thought that it had to be this very regimented, no thoughts at all. What I've come to learn is that you can actually incorporate everything that's happening and let it kind of hold you within the present moment. So the sensation of breath, the sounds around you, feeling of laying on the earth, all of these things are tools within your meditation. Take 5 more breaths here. You have a bunch of little friendly animal noises in the background, little tweeting birds and little red squirrels. And on your next breath, slowly start to expand through your chest. Perhaps wiggling the fingers and toes and maybe rocking the head from side to side. We're both laid down. Let's go ahead and join Mary Beth and Kelly laying down on our mats here. Take a nice long stretch, reaching the arms and limbs apart from one another. Maybe even getting a little dew from the grass on your fingers or toes. And then pulling the knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a squeeze and perhaps finding a gentle little rocking side to side. Keeping the hands on the knees and then just rolling the knees away from the body and back into the body, taking some nice big sweeping circles throughout your hip flexors. And make sure you take that in the opposite direction when you're ready. Bringing the soles of the feet to the outer edges of your mat, opening the arms up into a T, and then just letting the knees kind of rock from side to side, left to right, left to right. Just letting this motion unwind your connective tissue through the lower back, starting this opening up process through the side body and rib cage. Sounds like my microphone is cutting out a little bit. Should be better. And then keeping the left sole of the foot on the ground and pulling the right knee in towards the chest, giving yourself a squeeze here in your reclining wind relieving pose. If you choose to let that left leg lengthen down your mat, that's also welcome as well here. Sensing a little bit of pinching through that right hip flexor without any bad pain. And what we're doing is not only are we massaging the internal organs, but we're kind of constricting a little bit of blood flow to the hip. And then when we release it, that blood flow will come rushing back in. Let's interlace the hands behind right thigh and then just start to bend and extend through that right leg a couple times, getting into the hamstring, perhaps pointing and flexing the foot along your journey, even rotating the ankle. You might even linger in one area or the other, maybe with that leg extended and a nice flexed foot, and then a pointed foot, kind of taking some movements in that extended leg. And then from here, we'll come into a little core work. So I'm just going to turn to the side so you guys can see on your monitor. So we're going to pull the right knee back in towards the chest and lengthen left leg down your mat. Then extend the right knee right above right hip with a 90-degree angle. Keep that foot flexed. We're going to bring the left hand behind the head as a little pillow, and then bring the right palm against the thigh of the right leg. So we're going to press the palm into the thigh really hard. That way we're already starting to engage through our pelvic floor muscles. And then we're going to lift the left heel to just a hover and pulse that left heel almost to the ground and then back up for 10, 9, 8, 7. Keep pressing into right thigh. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take both knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Keeping the left leg where it is, go ahead and extend either the right sole of the foot to the earth or extend the right leg long as we pull the left knee in towards the chest, giving yourself a squeeze in this wind relieving pose. Getting the same benefits on this left side as we did on the right side. So we're kind of bringing a little tension into that left hip, kind of constricting a little bit of blood flow, massaging the internal organs, especially the colon. So great for our digestive system. And then interlacing hands behind left thigh and just bending and extending that left leg a couple times. So now that we had that knee the hip kind of constricted from that blood flow, now as we lengthen the leg, we're getting a lot of blood flow through the body. So this is great for our circulatory system. Also great for, letting the nutrients of the blood move through the body. Perhaps rotating that left ankle as you lengthen and bend. Maybe even holding that leg up in a lengthened position for a couple breaths with a flexed and pointed foot. And then coming into our core activation by pulling the left knee back in towards the chest. And then letting the left knee stack right on top of left hip. Taking the right palm behind the head as a little pillow, and then we're going to press the left palm into left thigh. And when I say press, we're finding this little contraction of pressing into the thigh and thigh pressing back. Do you feel that abdominal connection already? Let's start to lift that right heel to a hover and take those 10 pulses here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Both knees pull in towards the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And then either rocking onto one side, coming into a fetal position and lifting your way up, or rocking like a rocking chair up and down a couple times, the length of your spine. And then coming into your seat, where we'll pause for a moment. Bring your hands over your heart center, either palms together or palms on your chest. Allow your eyes to close. Come back to the stillness that we engaged in before movement. Perhaps setting an intention for your class. If an intention doesn't arise yet, maybe it will come to you throughout your journey. Beginning our practice with the sound of Om, starting with a cleansing breath to prepare in and out. And for Om, in, Have a beautiful class, everyone. Let's go ahead and start in a standing position. So just prop yourself up. We'll get right started here. Circle sweep the arms up overhead. Find a nice long stretch. And then start to just take some side to side movements here. So the arms might choose to stay up overhead. Or maybe you alternate dropping one hand down. So letting that right arm drop. Left arm reaches up and over. Inhale to center. And exhale, left arm drops. Reaches up and over. Taking these motions here a couple times at your own breath pattern. Just getting into some nice side stretches. It might even turn into some circling forward, letting yourself come into a gentle forward fold and then rocking over to the other side. Just taking these movements here. When you're ready, coming back up to center, reach the fingertips up to the sky. And then start to roll your wrists here a little bit. So start rolling them, creating little circles through the wrists, maybe opening and closing the palms. Want to make sure that we accurately warm up our wrists. Especially, we were kind of all commenting before class that doing yoga on a softer surface like the earth can be a little taxing on the wrist. So make sure you shake them off. And throughout class, if you ever need to take a break from the wrist, please feel free to do so. Turning these into some shoulder rotation, so letting the shoulders kind of come up and away from the ear. Perhaps taking some in unison with each other, or taking more of a back stroke and then front stroke type motion. When you've had your fill, reach those fingertips back up to the sky. Breathe in. And with the exhale, with a deep bend through the knees, slowly start to hinge from the hips into your forward fold. Now, we haven't really done too much warming up through our spine, so perhaps you take a really deep bend through those knees and bring the forearms on top of the thighs so you can really release that lower back and have a little bit of support for the upper body. If you are feeling a little bit more open already, depending on where you're at this morning, maybe you come into your ragdoll, still trying to keep a bend through the knees, perhaps a little swaying from side to side. Shaking of the head, yes and no, should feel really lovely here. And then coming in and out of some halfway lift. So bring your fingertips towards your shins. Inhale to a halfway lift. Grow that crown of the head to the front of your room. Squeeze the abdominals. And exhale, release, soften. Inhale, halfway lift. Grow that crown of the head long. We're even squeezing through the glutes here. This is an active pose. And exhale, soften and relax. 2 more halfway lifts. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. 1 more. Inhale, strong halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, press through the feet. Slowly start to rise 1 vertebra at a time. Finish it off by the fingertips reaching up to the sky. And exhale, hands to heart. Ground down with the inhale. And exhale. Inhale, arms sweep up to the sky. And with the exhale, we're going to sink those hips back into a chair pose. So just let your hips start to sink back. We're trying to find a nice flat back here. Feet are hip distance apart. For a moment, you might even bring the hands to the outsides of the knees and press the knees into the hands and hands into the knees so that you can really activate the outer edges of your thighs and glutes. Notice how the inner thighs are still pulling in as the outer thighs are pressing out. With the inhale, rise, lift up, press the pelvis forward, squeeze your glutes. And with the exhale, sit down into your chair. 3 more here. Inhale, rise, press up. Exhale, chair. Here's 2. And 1. Staying in your chair pose, bringing the weight into right foot, sending left foot behind you for your crescent lunge. So you can keep that chest lifted, right toes to the front of your mat, and that back ball of the left foot to the back of your mat. We're going to find some cat and cow-like motions in our crescent lunge. So I'm going to turn to the side just so you guys can see for a moment here. I might need to get a little closer to the microphone.
No, I think it's because that's the old one. You want to switch them out?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we're going to come into some crescent lunge openings here. So press the right foot into the ground. Inhale, we're opening up the chest, eliminating that bend through the left knee. And then with the exhale, we're going to bring the elbows towards one another as you bend and tuck through that left knee. Inhale, open, and exhale, tuck. Keep these going for a couple more here.
You want to switch this out?
Yeah.
Is it aux? And then this. And turn it on. I think we'll be okay.
All right. All right. How does this sound? Nope.
Is that off?
Testing,
Let's
testing.
get that on.
So take your last 1 or 2 here. Take your last one or two here. All right, technical difficulties are fixed. Awesome, you guys are rock stars. So coming back into your full runner's lunge. Inhale, arms reach up to the sky. And with the exhale, hinge forward, let the hands plant, and then send right foot back to meet left, plank pose. First plank of the day, so we're going to press those heels back, chest pulls gently forward, a little bend through those elbows that you're not hyperextending, squeezing the thighs, glutes, quads, abdominals, everything is engaged, face is soft. Inhale. And with the exhale, lower those knees to the ground. Allow the chest to follow with the elbows pointing back. Inhale for a low cobra. Start to engage the legs into the earth. Press that chest up. Shoulders come towards one another. And exhale, soften. Coming back into a table pose. And pausing in your table pose for a moment. Taking a couple movements here. Maybe some back and forth presses. Maybe some hip circles. Just taking a moment in our table pose before continuing through our practice, just to get a little activation through movement here. And then when you're ready, tuck the toes under, hips pull up and back, downward facing dog. Start to pedal your feet here a little bit. One heel presses down and then the other heel presses down, rolling those shoulders down and away from your ears. Breathe in. And out. One more round. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. And with the exhale, walk or gently hop to the front of your mat, forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, arm circle, sweep up, grow tall. And exhale, hands to heart. Ground here with the inhale. And exhale. Inhale, arms reach up to the sky. And with the exhale, sinking those hips back down into your chair pose. So the hips send back, nice flat back. Maybe for a moment you bring your hands towards your lower back and pelvis and just kind of notice where you're at. Make any little adjustments here. Press down into the feet. Knees go apart from one another as inner thighs pull in towards one another. Bringing the weight into left foot, sending right toes back, coming into a crescent lunge. So we're back in our crescent lunge position. There's a gentle bend through that right knee to keep that pelvis tucked underneath you. Opening the arms into goal post, we'll find those cat and cows again. So with the inhale, we're opening up our chest, lengthening through that back right leg. And then with the exhale, we're bending through the back right knee as you pull the elbows towards one another and tuck the chin towards the chest. Inhale, open. And exhale, round. In. And out. Now we did quite a few on the other side, so we have to match that up. So keep this moving. Inhale, open. And exhale, curl. Keep pressing down through that left foot. In and out. Two more at your own pace. Last one. Inhale, rise back to your crescent lunge. And with the exhale, hinge forward, hands plant. Left foot steps back to meet right, plank pose. Now, in your plank pose, you can choose to let those knees drop for a supported chaturanga, or with the inhale, prepare, and exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog. Keep the knees and hips up off the ground by squeezing your glutes and quads. And exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths in and out here. Inhale, right leg reaches up to the sky. And then just open the hip by dialing the right heel over towards the left side of your room, making sure to maintain equal weight distributed through the hands and shoulders. Inhale, right toes up to the sky, square your hips, and with the exhale, pull right knee into the chest, hold. Inhale, re-extend, reach right toes back up, and exhale, curl knee to chest, step to your runner's lunge. In your runner's lunge, you can bring a block underneath left fingertips. Make sure the feet are hip distance apart, so that right foot might need to walk out to the right a little bit more. Starting to take our twist here by pressing into that right foot and starting to bring the right fingertips up towards the sky. Perhaps that left knee drops to the ground here. Make sure you're not dumping all of your weight into that right hip and try to keep pressing through the back of the left heel. Breathe in, breathe out. One more, in and out. Slowly start to return back to center. Dial left heel down and cartwheel open to your warrior two. Right toes to the front of your mat, back edge of the left foot to the back of your mat. For a moment, you can just kind of bend and extend and kind of set yourself up here. So whenever you enter into a pose, you want to kind of take a moment to set it up. So make sure that that right ankle is right below the right knee, arms open into a T. Notice if that left hip is kind of pressing to the left. Try to keep those hips stacked right below shoulders. With the inhale, flip right palm, reverse your warrior. And with the exhale, extend your warrior. So right forearm comes towards inner right thigh or knee. Inhale to reverse, coming up and out of your waist. And exhale to extend. One more round here. Inhale, reverse. And exhale, extend. Hold here. We're going to rotate and kind of prepare ourselves for a triangle pose. So it's going to start by dropping that left hand to the back of your room, swinging it forward. And then as you extend the left fingertips up to the sky, we're going to extend through right leg. So the inhale is a dropping, coming into that side angle, rotating through left arm. The exhale is a lifting left arm up to the sky as you extend right leg. Take 2 or 3 more here, in and out. Just kind of preparing our body for holding our triangle pose a little bit longer. The next time you enter into your triangle pose, hold. So left fingertips reach up to the sky. There's a gentle bend through the right knee, but it's mostly extended. Right fingertips come to your shin, maybe a block. Notice if you're bringing your right fingertips too far down and it's sacrificing by letting those hips press back. You want those hips to be nice and stacked right below you. Breathe in, use those abdominals and especially those obliques to keep you lifted here. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Find a bend through that right knee once again. And exhale, cartwheel, hands down to your runner's lunge. Right foot steps back to meet left, plank pose. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, prepare for chaturanga. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, up dog or a low cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Inhale, left toes up to the sky. And then exhale, dial that hip open, letting left heel drop over towards the right. Taking a couple breaths within your 3-legged dog, opening up that hip without letting all of the weight dump into right shoulder. Inhale, lengthen left toes up to the sky. And with the exhale, pull the knee into the chest. Inhale, re-extend, left toes up. Exhale, knee to chest, step to your runner's lunge. So again, in your runner's lunge, that left foot is out towards the left so that the feet can be hip distance apart. Bringing a block under right fingertips this time. Preparing your twist by letting those left fingertips reach up to the sky. So notice if in that process that right hip started to drop, I want you to imagine that hips are staying level and the right rib cage is rotating over towards the left. So you have to use those abdominals a little bit here. Press in through left foot. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more. Stay with the challenge. Returning back to center, dialing right heel down and cartwheeling open to your warrior two, this time on the opposite side. So those left toes are towards the front of your mat, back edge of the right foot to the back of your mat. So there's a little bit of contrast through the feet. Right toes pressing back and left toes pressing forward. Open your arms to a T. Check through those hips. Make sure they're not sassy. Inhale, flip left palm, reverse your warrior. And with the exhale, extend your warrior. 2 more like this. Inhale, reverse. And exhale, extend. Last one here. Inhale. And exhale. Hold here for a moment. We're going to come back into those triangle repetitions. So dropping right fingertips to the back of the room, swinging them all the way forward. And then as right fingertips reach up, you extend through the left leg. So inhale, circle, side angle. Exhale, lift into your triangle. 2 more here. In and out. In and out. Hold in your triangle pose. So the right fingertips reach up, left fingertips to a block or to the left shin. Keep a micro bend through that left knee. Make sure those hips aren't pressing back. Try to keep those hips stacked right below you. Use the obliques and the abdominals to open your chest and rib cage for the right side of your room. Breathe in and out. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Bend through that left knee. And with the exhale, cartwheel hands down to your runner's lunge. Hands plant, left foot steps back to meet right, plank pose. Pausing here for a moment, letting those heels dial over towards the right. Left fingertips sweep up to the sky, side plank. Press those hips up to the sky. Take any modification here. That right knee can drop to the earth. Breathe in, breathe out. Coming back to your full plank, hold for the inhale. With the exhale, heels dial over to the left. Right fingertips reach up. Left knee can always drop to the ground. Press those hips up. Use the obliques here. Inhale and exhale. Return back to your full plank. Hold for the inhale and exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or low cobra. And with this exhale, we'll take it back to a child's pose, or perhaps finding a little drink of water, recalibrating, wiping off any sweat. I don't know about you guys, but it is humid. The sun isn't out, but it is humid. Take a moment to just check in with what the body needs, maybe rest or water, or a combination of the two. Take a cleansing breath in through the nose and sigh it out. One more. In. Returning back to a natural breath in and out through the nose if you can. Let's come into a table pose here. We're going to pause in a table pose before continuing with our standing balancing postures. So what I'd like to start by doing is taking those right toes to the back of your mat, letting them land there, and then just taking some back and forth presses to access through the calf and the arch of the foot. So we're going to take a couple movements in our table pose that will help us come into our postures in a standing position. Coming back to center, reaching the right toes up off of the ground, but keeping the glute flexed. We're going to bend the right knee to a 90-degree angle so that foot is pressing up to the sky. And I think Kelly called these donkey kicks. I didn't really know what the term was for it, but what we're doing is we're isolating through the right glute, and we're going to lower that right knee to a hover and then press that right foot up to the sky for 10, 9, really press through left knee into the earth as you pulse here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep that right leg extended And then perhaps you bend through the right knee and kind of come into a little bit of a quad stretch. You might even reach that left hand back around and grab onto right foot or ankle. Coming into a nice quad stretch here, kicking into the hand and hand pulling that foot back, almost like a little dancer pose. Last big breath in. And with the exhale, release back into your table pose. Rock the hips to the right. And then rock the hips over to the left. One more round over to the right. And over to the left. Coming back to center. Left toes extend to the back of your mat. Take those back and forth presses here. Not only are we stretching through the calves, but we're also getting into some natural movement in the foot as well. Definitely, if you have high arches or a very flat foot, it's good to get some stretching through there. And then reaching the left toes up off of the mat, bending the knees so that the left heel is pressing to the sky. Squeeze through left glute, press down with the right knee into the earth, and we'll pulse here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep that left leg lifted. Maybe you just bend the knee coming into a little bit of a quad stretch. Maybe you reach that right arm behind you, grab onto left foot, and kick into the hand, and hand pulls the foot back, coming into a nice opening through the chest, spine, quad, and glute. It's almost like a little dancer pose. Breathe in, breathe out. Releasing out of this, coming back into your table pose, rocking the hips side to side. And then we'll tuck the toes under, lift those hips up and back, downward facing dog. Well, we're gonna continue with some movements in a standing position. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. And with the exhale, walk or hop to the front of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, press through the feet, circle, sweep the arms up to the sky. And exhale, hands to heart. Grounding down through the right foot, we're going to come into a standing dancer pose. So you're going to inhale, circle, sweep the arms to the sky, grow nice and tall. Left arm stays where it is, right arm opens out to the right. Pressing through the left foot down into the earth, getting a nice connection there. If you are on the grass, you might kind of need to stroll up and down your mat and see where the best location is for balance. Grabbing onto right ankle or foot from the inside or outside grip. So that means that you can either grab from the inside of the ankle or the outside of the ankle. A traditional dancer is the inside of the ankle. With the inhale, lengthen and reach up. With the exhale, hinge forward as you kick right foot into right hand, and hand pulls right foot back. Keep a micro bend through that left knee. Keep that chest open. Breathe in. Breathe out. Stay with any little wiggles here. This is balance. This is tricky stuff. Keep your gaze on something that isn't moving. Here's your last inhale. And with the exhale, slowly start to come back to center. Pull that right knee into the chest and give it a squeeze. Just for a moment here. And then landing right foot next to left, coming back into your mountain pose, perhaps shaking the legs or hands out. And then we'll come into it on the other side, starting by reaching those fingertips up to the sky, getting nice and long. With the exhale, left arm opens out to the left. Grab onto foot or ankle from the inside or outside grip. So again, that traditional dancer is an inside grip. Lengthen with your inhale, reach long. And then with the exhale, hinge forward, kick that left foot into hand, and hand pulls that left foot back towards the body. So we're going to keep a micro bend through that right knee to protect our joints. If balance is tricky and you have to come out of it, get right back into it. Chest is becoming parallel to the ground. Right arm is reaching forward as left arm pulls back. One side might be easier than the other. Here's your last breath. As we start to come out of this, we're pulling the left knee in towards the chest, giving it a squeeze for a breath. And then releasing out of this pose. Go ahead and shake it out. Shake the wrists, shake the legs, maybe empty coat sleeve from side to side. I'll tell you what, if you like hot yoga, doing yoga outside in July, you'll definitely find it. You don't need the studio for it. Let's go ahead and walk to the back of our mats here. Both feet to the back. Inhale, arms circle sweep to the sky. Keeping the arms extended either up overhead or maybe interlacing the fingers together and keeping the pointer finger extended. Extending that left foot a couple inches in front of you, taking a nice big step, and then hinging forward, reaching the right toes up off of your mat, coming into a warrior three. Keep that right foot flexed and the toes pointing down. If you want to bring your hands towards your heart, you can. We'll hold for 3, 2, and 1. Right foot lands, left foot steps back to meet right, coming to the back of your mat. Inhale, arms sweep up to the sky, either keeping them there, maybe interlacing the hands, fingertips reach up. Stepping right foot forward this time, taking a deep breath in to lengthen. And with the exhale, hinging forward, left toes reach up off of your mat, warrior three. Flex through that left foot, keep that chest open just a touch. Maybe your hands come to heart if you do not enjoy the extension of the arms. Inhale and exhale. Landing left foot to the back of your mat. Right foot steps back to meet left, mountain pose. Now we're going to take one more set of those warrior threes, but this time we're going to turn them into a balancing half moon. So if you have a block, place it into about like the middle or the upper front of your mat. Inhale, arms reach up to the sky. And with the exhale, stepping left foot forward, bringing your hands to your heart this time, and then reaching the right toes up off of the ground. So we're starting in a warrior three pose. Notice how the hips are in line here in a horizontal pattern. And then we're going to come into our balancing half moon. So you can let those left fingertips drop down onto your block as you dial the right hip and stack it on top of left. Very challenging pose here and a very challenging way to get into it. You're keeping that chest propped open towards the right side of your mat. Flex through that right foot so that that glute and thigh is working here. 3, 2, 1. To come out of it, let's get back to that warrior three if you can. Dial that right hip down. And then right foot plants, left foot meets right. Mountain pose. Let's empty coat sleeve a little bit here. Just kind of wring out the spine, get a little freedom of movement. Then we get to take it on the other side, and then we hit the ground. Let your arms just kind of start to slow back down, coming alongside body. Inhale, arms reach up to the sky. With the exhale, pull the hands down to your heart. Step forward with right foot this time. Starting to hinge forward, left toes come off of the ground, warrior three. So again, those hips are in one line horizontally. And then dropping right hand down to your block, opening up to that balancing half moon. So now that left hip is turning to stack on top of right hip. Flex that left foot so that that entire left leg is engaged. This helps tremendously with your balance. Open up your chest towards the left side of the room. Here's 3, 2, 1. Remember, we're going to come back to that warrior three if we can. Dial that left hip down. And left foot lands. Right foot steps back to meet left. Mountain pose. We did it. All right. Plant those feet into the ground. Inhale, arms sweep up to the sky. Exhale, hinge from the hips. Forward fold. Pause here for a moment. Just enjoy a little forward fold. Perhaps shaking the head, yes and no. Maybe a little wiggle here. Even dropping down into a little bit of a squat position. And then when you're ready, walking those hands forward, coming into your plank pose. That's where we're going to meet, in that plank pose. In your plank pose, press those heels back, chest pulls forward. We're going to lift the right toes up off of the mat and then land right toes back down. Left toes lift up off the mat and left toes land down. 2 more on each side, right toes, left toes. Last round, right toes pick up and left toes pick up. Landing in your plank, inhale. With the exhale, lower all the way down onto your belly. You can bend the knees, windshield wiper feet from side to side once you arrive. Take a couple nice deep breaths. Feel the heart beating into the earth. Then lengthening the legs down the mat. We'll come into a locust pose. So the legs reach down the mat, arms alongside of you with the palms facing down. Take a breath in and let it go. With the inhale, start to lift the chest up. Maybe those legs reach as well for a full locust pose. The chin is gently tucked, so the neck is a natural progression of your spine. Squeeze through the glutes. Shoulder blades pull towards one another. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Big breath in. And with the exhale, slowly lower back to the ground. You can bend those knees and windshield wiper feet from side to side. Lengthening the legs down your mat. And then pressing your way back up into your table pose. We're going to be turning into our pigeon pose. So if you prefer to take your pigeon pose in a reclined position, you can find a reclined position. If you're ready for a prone pigeon, tuck the toes under, lift the hips up and back. Take any little wiggles here that you need. Eventually, right leg reaches up, and then that right knee comes towards right wrist, landing in your prone pigeon. So a couple options might be bringing a block right beneath right hip so that you can kind of sit upon it, or opening left knee out to the left. Once you've kind of come into your pigeon pose, you can choose to keep your chest lifted and hold here, or you can hinge forward and let yourself melt. I like to take a block underneath my head as a little support. Take a couple nice, long, deep breaths here. Notice how the mood of the class has now shifted to a little bit more of a relaxing rather than an engaging. Notice how the softer you become through the hips in this pose, the more tension you remove through the body, the more benefits you'll receive. I've had this spider with me the entire class, just bouncing around the mat. Yesterday I went to my dad's house and I was doing some yoga, and he has a new puppy, and the puppy was very interested in what I was doing. We did some downward dogs together. Prepare to come out of this pose the same way we got into it, by just propping yourself up, tucking left toes under, reaching the hips up and back, finding any little wiggles or waggles here that feel good. You might keep one leg extended. And then eventually that left knee is going to pull in towards left wrist, coming into the pigeon on your other side. You can take a block underneath left hip this time, or open up right knee out to the right. Perhaps keeping that chest lifted for a couple breaths, and then hinging forward and relaxing in your prone pigeon. Take a couple of nice deep breaths here with us. And when we stretch the hips like this, we hold so much emotion in our hips. And sometimes even past traumas, when we stretch our hips, emotions can start to arise, and just let those emotions know that they are welcome here. And emotions must be in motion. So we will never truly heal from our pain if we do not let these emotions be worked through us. Slowly coming out of this pose, and to round it off, we'll plant the hands on the ground, tuck right toes under, lift those hips up and back to a quick downward facing dog, and then letting those knees drop and laying all the way onto your mats, on your back. Once you arrive there, you can take a nice full body stretch, reaching the arms and legs apart from one another. And then pulling the knees into the chest, giving yourself a squeeze. Keeping that right knee pulled into the chest for a moment, and then letting that right leg cross over towards the left, coming into a twisting, reclining twist. A couple options might be letting a block come underneath right knee for a little bit of support so that knee isn't just floating in mid-space. You might choose to stack the knees on top of one another with a block sandwiched in between them as well. Continue some breath here. This is another position where we get a beautiful wringing out of the spine, removing any toxins. Twisting is also so great for the internal organs and digestive system, kind of bringing a little bit of movement. Coming out of this pose by bringing that right knee back into the chest, and then lengthening right leg down the mat, pulling left knee into the chest. And then taking that left leg and crossing it over towards the right, coming into a spinal twist on the opposite side. Breath. Take any modifications that you need with that block. Notice how when you let your body be heavy in this pose, you remove all of the tension and really start to receive the benefits of this posture. Two more breaths. Slowly starting to come back to center. Planting the soles of the feet together and letting the knees flop out, coming into a reclining bound angle pose. If this does not feel comfortable with your knees or hip joints, you can stack blocks underneath the knees. That way they're not floating in mid-space. Hands can be wherever feels best. Maybe alongside of you with the palms facing up to receive energy. Maybe the palms placed somewhere on the body to energize and integrate that energy into your physical form. Three more breaths here. When you're ready, taking any last posture to round your practice off, perhaps a happy baby or a waterfall position. Maybe just pulling those knees into the chest one more time. Then transitioning into your final resting pose. Allowing yourself to relax in a way that feels best for your body. If you have any lower back issues, perhaps the knees stacked knock inwards as the feet go to the outer edges of your mat. Connect back to your breath. Let's take these last moments in our Shavasana to connect to the simplicity of the moment. The gentle sounds around you. The energy of the earth radiating into the body. And taking anything within your physical form or mental form and just taking all of the stress or anxiety you have and letting it kind of seep into the ground like rainwater. Just letting what no longer serves you just permeate into the earth. Notice how the mind will continue to search for something exciting to think about. Just give it that friendly reminder that this is where we should be. And it is okay to simply just be without any agenda. Nowhere to go, nowhere to be. And we're in the destination of now. Taking a deep breath in and letting it go. Again, in and out. As your breath continues to expand, perhaps pulling knees in towards the chest or finding some gentle movements through the fingers and toes. Maybe taking a long stretch. Taking the next 4 or so breaths to slowly start to pick yourself back up into your seat. Taking your time to arrive and maybe even choosing not to move anywhere for anyone yet. Once you've arrived, bringing your hands over your heart. And just for a moment, inwardly asking your soul, how are you? Letting your soul answer you in ways maybe other than just words. Taking a moment in gratitude for this gift that is now. And honoring this mysterious universe for bringing us here together. We'll seal our practice in with the sound of Om, starting with the cleansing breath. Breathe in and out. Inhale. And the love that resides within my heart bows to the love within yours. Namaste. Thank you guys all so much for tuning into another class. Thank you, Mary Beth and Kelly Spencer. Looks like I'm right on time. The clock has been ticking at us at different times each class we've had, so maybe we're not on time, maybe I'm late. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, please go ahead onto our Mystic Fitness Facebook page and check out our latest video about our procedures for when we are reopening. It talks a lot about what to expect, what gear to bring, and the right way to enter and exit into our studio. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow morning for another class. Hopefully the weather is good to us and we can take it outside. Like I said, these are free. So come join us. We really want to see you guys out here. Thank you so much. Bye, Mom. Thanks, guys. Namaste.